graders, and welcome to lesson 8.4 on surface areas of prisms and cylinders. Remember that I told you that prisms and cylinders are related to each other in that they both have two bases, so keep that in mind. So there's two ways to figure out surface area. The first way is to use something called a net, which is like if you picture a cardboard box and you wanted to make something out of it, so you opened it up so you could lay it flat. That's what a net looks like. It's when you take a 3D object and you lay it flat to find the surface area, or you can use a formula. So if you were to draw a net, here I have a cylinder, and if I were to draw the net, a cylinder net looks like this. It's got a big rectangle in the middle, and then it has two circles on either end. And on this, I could realize that this side is 10. So then if I picture this is the top that's attached here, and if I were to just like roll this out here, the 10 would be here. And then I could mark that the diameter on these circles are 8. And then I can figure out the circumference, which is this area right here, really unrolled to find this length. So I could figure out the circumference by using pi, which would tell me what the length is this. Then I can multiply those to get the area of that. I can use pi r squared to find the area of this and the area of that. And then I can add them all together, and that would be the surface area of that. For a prism, I would draw it like this. So the prism net looks like there's two big squares or rectangles, then there's two little rectangles, and then there's two rectangles out to the side. Okay, and then if I were to try, I could take this picture and write in my numbers over here to do it. So I could look and say that this height, so those would be 8, which means that would be 8, that would be 8, and then I've got the 2, which would be this, and then I've got the 5, which would be this, and then I could use that information to find the area of each of these different parts, and then I could take those different parts and add them all up to find the surface area. So I just talked for over 2 minutes about these nets things, and if you gained anything from it, you probably gained that it sounds like it's a lot to keep track of. The benefit to the net is that you can really track the sides, and it's very, very visual. But to be just totally frank, I think in 7th and 8th grade, you're going to find that you prefer to use the formula. So let's talk about how to do it with a formula. So here's your first vocab word that you need to know. Lateral area. The lateral area of a 3D figure is the perimeter times the height. And the lateral area, I should have brought a 3D figure with me, is all of the sides besides from the bases. So let's say that you had, I'm looking around, I got nothing in this room right now. Oh, my marker. If I found the lateral area of this, it would be all this part around right here, not including the top and the bottom, because those are the bases, the circular bases. So that's the lateral area. If it was a prism, then I would find all of the area going around, but all the faces, but not the two bases. So we find that finding the perimeter of the base times the height. Okay, so to find the perimeter of the base, I need to add 5 plus 6 plus whatever the hypotenuse would be. And if it's not given to you, then you would use Pythagorean theorem to figure out what the length of that hypotenuse is, since it is a right triangle. So I would do 5 squared plus 6 squared equals c squared and figure out what that last one is. Then after I have added up all of those, I would multiply it by the total height, which is 7 of the figure, and that would be my lateral area. So now how do I find the surface area? I find the surface area by finding the lateral area, which remember was the perimeter times the height, and then I add the area of both bases, so 2 times a big B, which stands for the area of the base. So just think, if you can remember that that's the lateral area, I'm finding the area of the distance around the middle part, connecting the bases, and then I'm just finding the area of both bases and I'm adding them together. Okay, let's look at the examples and bring this all together. So here I have a rectangular prism. All right, so I'm going to remember my formula for surface area, left to right kind of small, is the perimeter times the height plus 2b. So first, what is the perimeter of the base? So I can choose kind of any of these squares that I want to be the perimeter of the base. I just have to be consistent. So let's say that I picked this bottom piece right here, okay, to be the base. So the first step is to find the perimeter of the base. So if this is my base, then I need to add up 4 plus 9 plus 4 plus 9. So that's 18. So that is 26 times, and now the height of the figure is the 2, plus 2 times, what is the area of the base? 4 times 9, so plus 2 times 36. Okay, so now I'm going to do 26 times 2, which is 52, plus 36 times 2, which is 72. And then I'm going to do 52 plus 72, which equals 124 inches squared. Okay, now if I had chosen a different base, if I had chosen to do this as the base, that would have been fine because I would have found the perimeter of this, multiplied it by the height, and then I would have added the areas of both of those. Okay, let's look at example B, and I'm going to do this one with you too since it's a little bit different because it's a cylinder. So the same exact formula that we've got, okay, surface area equals perimeter times height plus 2 times the area of the base. So the perimeter of the base, remember the base is a circle, is the same thing as circumference. So circumference is pi, right? So the diameter here is 7. So I'm going to do 7 times pi times the height, which is 11.5, plus 2 times pi r squared. And for right now, I'm actually just going to write in pi r squared. I did not leave myself enough room for this. So 7 times pi times 11.5 equals 252.89. I'm going to round it up to 9. Plus the radius, which is 3.5 times 3.5 times pi equals times 2 equals 76. 6 will round up to the 9, which will round this up to 77. Okay, and then my last step is to add those together. So 252.9 plus 77 equals 329.9 centimeters squared. Okay, so there's still a lot of steps, but there's less steps than if you, or at least it feels like less steps to me than if I draw out the net. Either way that you do it is okay, but now you know the 2 ways. All right, so go ahead and get to work applying this. Let me know if you have any questions. Good luck.